Hey everybody! So I'm getting a little behind again on my book, so I wanted to hop on here and share my 11th book of 52 in 2020. And for those of you that don't know, my goal this year is to read 52 books in 52 weeks. So it's a book a week on average. So far, I have not been perfect. Sometimes I read more, sometimes I read less. That's just whatever. Apparently, because I'm only on book 11, but I'm on book 11. I think that's more than I've read any other year of my life. So I like to hop on here and share books, hopefully to stop you from reading some that, or to help you find ideas for some really awesome life-changing books, especially during this time when we're stuck at home, or maybe even just kind of halfway stuck at home at this point. I think we should all be working together, and it's also helping keep me accountable, because if by the end of the year I'm like, oh, I'm on book 12, then you guys can call me out and be like, Emily, you're a liar because you said 52. So anyway, my book for this week, I want to say this week, but it took less than a week to read, is Girl Stop Apologizing. And yes, as always, it is backwards, and yes, as always, you are so smart that you will still be able to read it. So again, Girl Stop Apologizing by Rachel Hollis. It is amazing. This book is the sequel to Girl Wash Your Face. Sequel? Yes. And so lately I have been like borderline obsessed with Rachel Hollis. I feel like maybe her and I have like similar thought patterns and styles for motivating ourselves and wanting to motivate others. So I love listening to her podcast. I love reading her books. I can't wait to get a book that's coming out, and then all of her fiction novels as well. But anyway, I like to do a personal development book every other week, so that's what this is. It is a motivating book. It is basically a kick in the butt. If you need a kick in the butt in your goal chasing, then this is it. And whenever I read a personal development book, I get a little notebook. It's nothing fancy, and I write notes in it so that later I don't have to reread every single book in my library. That would be insane. I don't have time for that. I don't have the patience for that. I already know how it ends. You know what I mean? So I like to write notes so that all I have to do is look at like 1 or 2, 3 max pages of notes versus hundreds of pages of books. So a few notes that I wrote down for this book, just so I can share some of the amazingness. So one thing that she does is she tells us excuses. She goes over excuses that we tell ourselves and how to kind of overcome them. So this is mainly geared towards women, but so for an example, an excuse could be, that's not what other women do. There are so many times in our lives when we're telling ourselves, well, that's not what all the other moms I know are doing. That's not what all of our neighbors are doing. That's not what every woman on Instagram is doing. And she's saying what works for each person is going to be different. Don't lose yourself in the pursuit of trying to fit in. Don't constantly obsess over what every other person around you is doing, to the point where you don't even know who you are. You don't know what you value. You don't know what's driving you, and you don't know where it's driving you to. Okay, so that's an example. I'm not going to give all of it away, so you go buy it. Let's see. So another thing, she goes over her gratitude journal. So if you don't know what her gratitude journal is, again, this is Rachel Hollis. She does a 10-10-1. So you write 10 things that you're grateful for in the last 24 hours. You write 10 things that would be like your absolute best self. Like if you picture yourself 10 years from now or something, 20, 50, whatever, and your absolute best self, like what would that person look like? What would that person dress like? What would that person eat like and smell like and speak like? What would their friendships look like? What would their bank accounts look like? You at your absolute best. You write 10 dreams that would make that a reality. So let's say you think, well, I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm going to have $1 million in the bank. Okay, and that's your dream. What is something that will get you there? Having a savings account. Maybe it's paying off debt. Maybe it's both. Maybe it's getting an extra job or picking up a side hustle. So just an example. And she talks you through that and how to do it in any journal. I have a gratitude journal. Again, it's just a cheap journal that I have, and I fill it out the way she says to without having to buy anything special. But anyway, basically, guys, this book is just, I'll hold it up again. Basically, this book is just how many times am I going to say it? When I say a word too many times, it bothers me. It starts to not mean anything. So what this book is about is stop apologizing. And it's geared towards women. That's why it says girl. But anyone could read this. Honestly, anyone could read this. It's a super easy read and tailor it to themselves. I mean, even if you're a woman, just like I just said, and like she says in the book, everyone's so different. So it really doesn't matter who you are. You can read this book and get something from it. But if you keep apologizing for existing, you need to read this book. If you keep making up excuses for why you can't have that or can't be that or aren't enough this and you're not enough this and you're too much that and blah, 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 read this book. Seriously, because it will, first of all, she goes through all the excuses that we all experience in our minds. And so that makes you feel normal. Like, okay, it's not just happening to me. I'm not crazy, I'm not too emotional, whatever the two things that we do to ourselves. You feel normal, but then also she talks you through it. Why is that happening? Why are we telling ourselves that? And then how do you jump over that hurdle? Which is so amazing. There's a version of the book that actually has a whole chapter just for business owners, and that's pretty cool. So you can get a separate, I think it's exclusive to Barnes & Noble. You can get that edition if you're a business owner, or even if you know a business owner, or if you're curious about being a business owner. But anyway, I know my personal life, I apologize for everything. And then I apologize for apologizing. And then I apologize for the way someone's feeling about how I just apologized for apologizing. And it's like a mental illness. And I think we've all been trained to do that inadvertently here and there. And so basically what she's saying is cut that crap out. And I love it. I would honestly recommend listening to her podcasts at the same time that you're reading this, and even building up, like if you order it in the mail right now and you're waiting for it to come, listen to her podcast, because then you'll hear her voice, you'll hear her tone, and then you'll hear it when you're reading, because she is a very kind, very warm-hearted, she cares about people. So even though she's saying some really harsh stuff in here, if you know her already through her podcasts, like you know her tone, you'll know it's coming from a place of like, you know, like how mothers push us when they know we can be better, or like your coach will push you when they know it's in you and they're trying to break down that barrier you've built around yourself. That's her. That's this book. It's going to push you out of your comfort zone, but in a way that's like, you know, it's because you're amazing. Okay. So Girl Stop Apologizing by Rachel Hollis, my 11th book of 52 in 2020. I love it. If you have any good personal development books, please let me know. Shoot them my way. I am so excited to share the other, I don't feel like doing math, like 31 or something books that I'll be reading this year with you. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Again, recommend books. If you know someone who loves Rachel Hollis, tag them in this so they can see how amazing this book is. If you miss any of my videos, you can catch them on YouTube right away, so you can watch all of my book videos for this year and all the ones that are to come. Thank you again, guys. You are amazing. If you have a goal, I'm doing mine. You can do yours. Trust me. I'm busy, and I know you are too, but you are so worthy. You can reach any goal that you have. You just have to show up. So just show up for it every single day, like I'm doing on these lives, even though this is happening. You know, and this, still showing up, okay? I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great night.